Oh, okay, so this is how it kind of works. Oh, look, the ibis are there. Come on. But also we have other company like right opposite with the truck as usual. Mr. Ibis. Might line up today. But I mean, so they're actually not doing anything. They're just shoveling a bit of sand. But as you can see, even just doing very basic manual work, no machinery at 7 o'clock in the morning, but still noisy just doing basic stuff. But that's all staged fake work. They are all part of the bus depot and the street and the whole suburb, etc., etc., in the sense that they, I feel like now, and it's taken me like 5 years to sort of fully realise it, particularly when I noticed the changes in the bus depot. How it went from being a quiet bus depot with a few buses leaving early in the morning and one or two coming back of the night to where, you notice that, and also the reality that that even with the bus depot, that that's why they call them bin chickens or something like that, because they like to get on the bins and get the rubbish out the garbage tins. But of course now we don't have any open bins much. That's the thing. You know how things change, like society changes to where like you have clothes bins. Like when I first come to Leichhardt, there were no garbage tins at all. You just put your bag of rubbish out under that tree there. But then they started like, oh yeah, it gets pulled around and all this sort of thing, even though I didn't actually ever see that myself, to be honest, because normally if you put the bag out there only for a little time before the garbage men come and pick it up, I'm sure that there's other reasons why there's all these things. What's this weird van coming down here? Oh yeah, look at this. Pipe repair people. That probably means they're going to make some noise today or something. That's not looking good. But all this fake work, fake bus depot, fake people. They talk, see how they talk and pretend they're friendly and normal? They're not. They're all like an army. But I suppose if you're in the army, you talk too, I suppose. But they're all part of this is like the whole, I think now the whole suburb, see they're going in the house, it's right opposite. But basically it's just all staged. Here comes this van's going to double back now. And of course the cars are coming on now too. What are all these cars coming down here for? As you can see, it's a dead-end street. It's dead end just there. So you've only got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses or something, yet you have all this traffic and all this activity. It was a quiet, small, dead-end street when I first come here for years and years, until the Matrix opened up and closed down on me. But anyway, see, I've lost my train of thought because I'm feeling timid now here. Yeah, see, that car's went into that house right down there on the corner, and it's just backing in the front there. It doesn't belong there. None of these cars, all these houses are all, it's all, every person that's in most of the houses in Leichhardt and in the shops and in everything, they're all part of the matrix. They're all part of the same group of people. But when I say a group of people, they're a really large group because they've sort of eased out all the real people. Like all the real people have been eased out of my street and out of the suburb. Oh, there's a few pigeons there. I think it will clear up today and the sun will shine. We have had another bit of rain every day. See how that person's just come out of the house just there? It won't come out on the mobile, but they just come out. But you see, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't happen that every time you come out, that the amount of people that come out of the houses would be real. But if I show that to someone, it doesn't look ridiculous, it doesn't. And I better go in because, to be honest, I'm standing out here and it's not something that I really want to do. But you see, they've stopped my train of thought. At least they've stopped with that. There's no noise at the moment, so I'll just... But see, what I'm trying to say is this. It works like this. Just occurred to me, it works like this. See, I'm home at the moment, right? Now it's early morning, right? But I'm making this video only to show that there is always some vehicle outside, or at least that it's in an unproportional amount to what would be considered normal. Because like 3 days in a row now, I think I've put it on. I think I've put the videos out because I know I've got the mobile out to show just a bit. The real truth is you really need to show everything, and you can't do it. I could have done it at the start for a whole year even, or maybe 6 months. When I could have said, I'm sitting in the same park in Leichhardt nearly every day. This was when we had the dog. And I reckon I could have almost proved without a doubt that there was some sort of noise program going on around me. To disrupt your conversation, to disrupt your harmony. Because every single day when we sat in the park with the dog, almost without fail, and we sat in that park most days, at least 5 or 6 out of the 7 days anyway. But all I'm saying is that, like one day you go there'll be noise coming out of one house. Next day there'd be a bit of street work. Next day someone, would be leaving a truck or something, or doing some noise with the truck, or there would all. But I can't explain it all because it almost seems ridiculous to me, and I can't remember the million incidences. You just lose track of it after a while. You just lose track of it. But basically it's always around your frequency and vibration, because the minute you start to feel a bit better, they will bring in some sound or some sight or something to distract you, to annoy you, to bring you back down. And as, like I was consciously aware of this, so I'm consciously trying to even, the old saying, fake it till you make it. Like I would actually try to be up-tempo, even if I really wasn't feeling it, knowing that sort of situation. Because even when a real human fakes it a little bit, because even when you fake it a little bit, there's still something real in it, It must still have some effect, but maybe it's just easy for real people if you are really wanting, because don't forget, if you feel depressed, you will consciously want to try to make yourself feel better too. So it's like that as well. But either way, my point is that if sitting in the park, I didn't have the mobile then, but at least I never had it with me. Never, I was too frightened to take it out. But other people had mobiles, but you couldn't get them to turn it on, because most people think it's wacky. They don't want to film. They don't want to film innocent work people. They don't want to film this stuff. Even though you'd think that if they were real people, that they'd say, "Hey, isn't it ridiculous that we can never sit in the park in peace and quiet? You know, like you should be able to. You know, especially if it's like not actually on a road. You know, like if it's a bit, you know, and it's only a small park." A park where no one would come into. That's another thing too. You notice that more people come into particular parks and things like this, whereas that would be hard to prove to anyone except yourself. It's a bit like when I say the park down on the corner there, no one ever sat on the grass and no one ever sat on the seats, and most people would say that doesn't sound real, that they wouldn't. But that was the reality. People only walk through it. You know, you got a suburb where people just walk to where they're going. They just didn't do that, because I know myself. I mean, someone said go and have a picnic in the park. Well, there's just no way that I would go down to the corner of the bottom of my street and have a picnic. But that's what they would do now. That's right, because they're all, you know, part of this patrol system. You know, but you just wouldn't do that. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it in my life, even when I didn't live here. It's just not something that most average people do. Most people tend to go further away if they're doing picnic, just like they might go to the beach or something. You know, they just don't tend to do it when it's right next to them, sort of thing. You know, I don't know why that is, but they just don't. You know, I suppose I'd feel stupid going down to the corner and having a picnic, you know. I wouldn't have a picnic anyway, you know, because I'm not keen on sitting on the ground, you know. But, you know, because I have a fear, sort of thing. But either way, yeah, I've got the tarot on here. Read all the tarot things these days. Is there merit to it? Does it ring a bell? Is there any truth to it? Never met anyone like some people either. In fact, I've never met anyone like the artificial androids that I've had to deal with, not only over a lifetime basically, because that personality type is what I have only experienced mainly anyway. I'm not saying that I haven't met some real people. I'm saying that most of the people that have been in my personal life, that have been close, have been. And quite frankly, until more recent times, I wouldn't have known the difference. You find out only after a long period of time. Sometimes you can almost, until you actually understand that there are different people that are that what you would have considered to be a rare type of person is actually common, because everyone is acting. You know, because it's a bit like, I suppose, you know, if you're hiding the fact that you really are a destructive life form, you're not exactly going to broadcast it, are you? No. And in fact, in order to seduce the real life forms, you have to come across as being a life form. So that's how it basically is played, and that's why it is a mind game. You know, a mind game played against real people, because you know, real people are not always aware of this. Sometimes, you know, like myself, you can realise after a really long time that there's something negative and wrong with most of the people that you encounter. particularly if you know them reasonably well. But of course you don't know them reasonably well. By that I mean if you spend time with them and you discuss things with them, but you do not know them reasonably well, you don't know them at all. They know you. You know, you tell them about yourself, but they only give you the version of themselves that they think you want to hear. So that way you will keep playing with them. That's how it works. You know, of course, if it's family, they don't have to bother to do that. You know, like, in other words, if it's like parents and things, well, they don't actually have to bother putting on a false front or acting. It's only if you're out in the world and you're looking for friends or company, you know, that situation would apply. You know, I would think. At least that's I would think, because it's a different situation with family, you know. But could be wrong. There could be some families that do play, you know, that way. But I wouldn't think it would be necessary. Which is why, you know, they like to sometimes have family units too, for that reason, because it means that you can have control without having to put in too much, putting too much effort into the acting or seduction or anything like that. You know, my head is feeling a bit funny here now. It almost feels as though it's being hit with something, you know, because there are frequencies being sent into this place. And that is because, you know, they bring your frequency down by their negative stuff that's around it, and also fear too, because don't forget, if you think that negative frequencies are coming at you, you are in a slight state of fear, probably more than a slight state. I think I've just got so used to it. I remember when the Matrix first opened up on me, I didn't think I could endure it at all. I really didn't. I thought, I'm not going to be able to survive, so what is the point in me even trying, you know? Because I'm like, I can't do anything about an unseen frequency. It's not like you can go to the authorities and say, oh, someone tried to harm me in a physical, obvious way. It's invisible, so you can't say anything, you can't do anything about it. Sure, I can make a video and ramble on to unknown people, you know, basically no one who's, you know, it doesn't affect my reality, because basically, you know, it's like, oh, on the internet you can get all sorts of people that make videos, and you get crazy people can say anything they like. So basically it doesn't mean anything. You know, I can't go to the authorities and say, oh, I'm under attack, and oh, I'm being patrolled by most of the traffic that's on the road. They'd be like, you know, whereas if you could say, oh yeah, I was married and I got divorced and my husband stalked me and he's sitting in his car down the end of the street, they'd look into that, and you'd have but because doesn't appear to be a motive, because it's really a spiritual attack on your humanity. That's the best way I can put it. It's probably, that might not even be the correct way of putting it, but all I'm saying is because you are different to them. You have a different makeup, more or less, if you want to put it that way. A different frequency. That's the real bottom line, because they have the low frequency and human beings have the potential for high frequency. You know, they don't have potential for high frequency, and they don't like high frequency. They can't feed off high frequency. High frequency or happiness of human beings is repulsive to them. It pushes them away. It brings them down. Theoretically speaking, they could die, I would say, if every human being had really high happy frequency, because they'd have nothing to drain from you. They have to bring you down for low frequency. That's what I reckon anyway. That seems to be my experience, because I've never had, I knew that early on because I had to figure it out. I'm like, why is this happening to me? Because I'm like, there's no reason for all these people that I don't even know. But they know me because they're watching me, you see, because they're looking for the frequency, because they're a different species, a different makeup, different mindset, different needs. They're an artificial android type of being in a human body. Well, most people would say an android is an artificial human, wouldn't they? If you looked at a movie, they would probably, that's what it would be, And having said that, it still mystifies me. It's still like going over my head. I just combine what I see of people, and because I've had close contact with people and realise after even a lifetime that most of the people that I've dealt with have a secret kind of, the shush, they keep going shush. That's because that's the secret. The secret is that they have a secret plan in their mind to control you. But it's not to your benefit anyway. It's not like they're giving you good advice or they're doing it so that they don't even do it for their own benefit. Because they are so negative and want the negative energy, you can't collaborate with them. They won't share, not even when it's a benefit to themselves. Not unless it was like, I don't know, to where, or at least this has been my experience. I'm not saying that they couldn't share with you to get something, but they would always be trying to get rid of you at the same time. They don't like to share, if you were going to be successful in some way and they were sharing that success, they would like the success and they would use you for that sharing, but they would be always looking to get rid of you, always looking to push you down, and they wouldn't be comfortable with that going on for very long, I wouldn't think, not if it made your vibration rise, I wouldn't think. That's been my experience because I see that all the time. Also because they have to be the whole thing to see, because it is like a very superior. They consider themselves very superior beings. It never occurs to them that they can't exist without us, and that really most of what they... But you see, that's like when someone invades, I suppose, a town. Like supposing you had someone supposing there was a really prosperous little town, right? And you have this group of people that decide to invade and take over the town and take all its what they call spoils or goods or whatever, That's the same thing, isn't it? But most people think that's okay, or at least they don't see that as like... most people, what I'm trying to say is that it's like if they can come to that town and take it over, that's how a lot of things happen that way even. So, they'd be like, they steal all that's in the town, that they haven't made or they haven't created or they haven't worked or put it in. But some people would say, well, they were powerful enough to take it, So therefore they are superior. And that's the attitude, you see. It's like it doesn't matter, if you made something and then someone else comes along and robs you of it, they're like, well, it doesn't matter that you made it. That doesn't make you better. That makes us better because we were able to take it from you. That's their mindset. And that's the reality too. And probably always has been. If you think about it, and I've lost my train of thought, what I'm talking about. Even now, when I'm standing behind my closed door, there's no noise at the moment, but there is like traffic, shall we say? When I say traffic, but even the trucks that go past, which there never used to be trucks on this street. I'm not saying you didn't get the odd postal van and stuff like that, but you didn't get trucks. And you didn't get any trucks on Norton Street, the main street of Leichhardt either, much less the really big ones. You just didn't. It was all cars and buses. But I can't prove that. Most people will say that's unusual. Well, no, it wasn't, because they only kept on the main road. And what I'm trying to say is, these trucks are not real trucks doing stuff half the time. I'm not saying that they're not the same as trucks that do say deliver or do things. I'm saying there's too many of them. They're fake. They're matrix control patrol trucks, and they make too much noise. All the traffic around me makes more noise. The actual individual vehicles, not to mention when they deliberately make noise as they go past. Just like the bikes and things. And there was no bikes anyway. Or at least, you see a bike once every few hours probably at the most. One. Now you've got them, or, all this sort of thing where it's just changed, really quickly, shall we say. And I'm wasting video here, and I've lost my train of thought. I was going to talk about the bus depot. And now I can't remember. Can't get my concentration on. Well, yeah, the bus depot, the example there is that you never ever saw a car go into the bus depot. Cars did not go in there. They've expanded that bus depot, and now you see a car. You see that, well, I've filmed it even, but you see the cars just go, like every time I go there, it doesn't matter what time of night or day, you will see cars going into that bus depot. A car never went into the bus depot. Only buses, and even the buses are going all the time in and out of the bus depot all day. Never happened that way. But can't prove that. What's going on out here? Just before I go, see, there's some noise going on, but they've turned it off. Oh, yeah, I see, I wasn't wrong. There's that bloody vehicle down there is back down there again, pretending to clean out that bloody pipe of that fake alcohol place, that's just all fake. Completely fake. I can almost tell by looking at some of these people that run these places, That's just fake, because they come there all the time with that great big machine saying that, the thing's blocked up. In fact, I think I filmed the video when I actually chased the fella inside, which I didn't intend to. But I was just going to ask him what he was doing because it's fake, so you just stupidly ask him, because you're just like, at least it seems normal. It seems normal that if I was on a normal street, that if there was a vehicle outside making a real lot of noise for, a couple of hours, I think most normal people probably would say, what are you doing? More so when you see it a lot. And so, but the minute he saw me coming with the mobile, or even just asking, he went charging inside the place. But what he didn't count on was that I actually followed him in there. But normally I wouldn't do that. You have to be very angry and, upset to sort of do that. But it's very easy when you know when it's happening all the time. If that was a one-off incident, I wouldn't probably even ask. Most other normal people probably would on the street. That's another thing they don't ask now. Back before all this changed, even most of the neighbours that were even here, they would be asking everything for the slightest thing, you know. I've expanded too much energy on this video. I feel exhausted actually, and there are negative frequencies coming into the house. I can actually feel them on my head at this very moment as I speak. Usually it's on your legs or your arms or your hands. But like I say, with frequencies that are invisible, you know, that's why they're so confident in the game that they play, because they're hiding behind, closed doors. They're hiding behind, the houses. They're hiding behind a wall, like thin walls that separate me here from other people, and you don't know what they're using and what they're given. And also, another thing too is that don't forget, and this is something that I know for a fact, because when you talk to, if you've been in contact with overt psychotic people, psychopathic people, when they expose their negativity to you, they expose how they really think to you, which is rare. It's not that common. Usually you have to be close to someone, or it has to be when they lose their temper greatly, when they feel threatened to where they'll let down their guard. Some of them will only do it for a very small space of time. Others, theoretically you could be married to someone, and if they've got you trapped, then they're like, oh, they think they can basically just expose it, and that does happen, as we know. I'm finding it hard to concentrate here because I can hear that noise from that vehicle. It's not loud, but it comes into my house just the same. So basically all these are still things to where you're aware of it. Whereas if you're inside your house, you shouldn't really hear every single thing that goes on outside your door on the street. And that would be not normal. But then again, I've never, before the last 5 years, I've never been in an area where you have this continual barrage of them always having to do some work in the street, That's not normal for a start. Sure, they'll give you a logical explanation, but it's all made up. It's all made up, but no one would believe that. They'd say, oh, well, they're not going to, they got their drain machine going down there, and it's not. It's all made up. They're not there doing the legitimate work they say they're doing. They dig up the bloody streets all over Leichhardt, and they put new concrete down where it's not needed. So it looks as though they're doing work, and they are doing work, but they have high-powered, high-vibrational, when I say high-vibrational, I mean loud, but that's a high negative vibration, like if you've got really machinery going, and when you go past and you can hear it. It's a negative frequency for the human mind. So, of course, they're doing work, unnecessary work. They can't just do like they did tonight when I walked round a different street, and they have all these vehicles lined up on the road with their flashing lights, but they're not even doing anything because there was no one else around, and I didn't take the mobile. I deliberately didn't take it. I said, I don't want the stress of filming or being tempted to film, and I thought probably nothing will happen to where I can. But even that, you can't show it, but you can certainly show the flashing lights of vehicles where they leave the engine running too, where they got all these flashing lights. But that's just to show you, and it stopped me from going right down the street. I doubled back because I'm like, I'm not going into all those lights, and it just intimidates you. But they weren't even doing any work, whereas most of the time they will actually engage in what appears to be real work. They didn't even bother last night for some reason. I thought that was funny, and yet they had all these, had all the road blocked off and everything. But that's wherever you go. They know you're going to go there. See, I went down a different street thinking, oh, it might be a bit quieter. But they know what you're going to do before you do it, because they read the human thought, so they know where you're going to go. I have to fold up. My eyes are sore here, and I have to fold up.